We are back with episode 47.
Yeah,
right?
episode 47
of the Eric and Tony Show with a special guest who's on his way out of town to go to Austin, Ron Taylor.
Right on.
Yeah, we got you right before you fucking took off, man.
Yeah. Before I get on that iron pimp, man, I'm taking the train out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have taken the train long distance recently.
We're Greyhound boys. We're taking the bus.
Oh, come on, man. Don't be a poor. No, man, the train is... I don't know why more people don't take the train or why we're not told about the train, but it's like it's
big oil, man.
It's an infinite, like it's infinitely better.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine.
So much better. Like it's longer, sure, of course. Like it's the difference between from here to Austin and what 2-3 hours on the train.
2 weeks,
33 hours. But it's 33 hours like in a nice, dope place. So coach on a train is better than first class on a plane.
Really?
How much does it cost for a coach on a train?
This trip?
Yeah.
The lowest it was $192. Okay. I ended up paying like $220 because I was poor. So it's very expensive to be poor. And I had the money at the time. I could have got it for $192. And then like a plane ticket was like, I think I saw as cheap as $202 or something like that. So, depending on what you're doing and what time and when you get it, it could be around the same price. But it's just, man, like there's so many other factors that makes the train more enjoyable, right? So like anytime you go to an airport, whatever city you're in, the airport is bumfuck away. Yeah. It's like it's nowhere near wherever you're going. I don't give a fuck what you're trying to do. You could be like trying to do a job interview at the airport. Yeah. You get to the airport and it's far as fuck from wherever you gotta go. Yeah. The train station in any city is always like right where you want to be. Yeah. It's right where you need to go. Yeah. Right. So let's just go from here, LA, right? LA. I'm going to go from wherever I'm staying. I'm gonna go to the fucking train station. I'll get out the car. I'll walk to the train and get on. That's it. Yeah. No one pats you down. Oh, really? There's no fucking circling, trying to find your gate.
Take off your belts and shoes. All right, you're not doing it wrong. This is not the place where you take your laptop out. Like that, dude, the amount of fucking different rules at TSA when they yell at you like you're the fucking idiot. It's like, dude, you change all this shit. Every airport you're in, it's a different fucking rule. Yeah. And I'm always the idiot. And everyone's mad at me all the time. I'm like, fuck this.
Which is kind of crazy because there's more people that can fit on a train than can on a plane. So you think the security would be higher because
you can hijack a train and fucking fight into a building.
She could.
Will you drive into a fucking like another train?
You could fucking like blow up a train or fucking.
There are movies about
or derail it and then kill everybody.
Under Siege 2.
I've thought about that, but I mean not necessarily doing it, but I've thought about like, yo, why is
you heard it here, folks?
But it's who's that
2 weeks later?
Who's that angry on a train?
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why people blow up planes because it's so unpleasant. Yeah. Right. Your ears don't
stuck
pop.
in that same air circulating around.
So like the where you sit and stuff, is it like a can you like on like a plane it's cramped, you can't fucking stretch your legs out. Like can you relax? Can you can you put your feet up? Is it like you got space? Did you get a little booth thing?
There's a recliner. Now I ain't even talking about the booth. I'm talking about coach. I'm talking about poor people seating on a train is first class on a plane.
Yeah, that's what I would take. I would take the same thing.
On a train, first class on a train is your own private room. You got a bed, a shower.
A bed and a shower?
It's called a roomette, or you can get a room. A bed, a shower, dinner.
Sounds like a good date. It's I get a fucking bed on a train.
Like, if you want to impress a young lady, just take her on a train trip, man. All the dinner is included. You can bring... It says it. You can bring your own alcohol.
Really?
Yeah. Like, so you can fuck on the train. Then they have an observatory car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're just in this big giant window thing, just looking at corn. Yeah. And then the corn turns to mountains, and then the mountains turn to fucking what are those things we eat? Cows. Yeah. Cows. It's like. It's fucking dope, man.
Do they have a bar and stuff in there too then?
Sure.
Do they have like a restaurant?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Man, I need to try this train shit.
If you pay coach, you got to pay for that. Eric. But when you do the roomette or the room shit, it comes with it.
Comes with it.
Yeah. There were some Amish people when I was on the train. And
how does that work?
It's little stuff that you don't even think about, right? So there's like wall outlets or whatever in every seat. these motherfucking Amish people had a whole hot pot and like bags of dry goods and was like cooking up some sweet home
fucking
Amish meal.
porridge and shit. Yeah.
What?
You guys have Amish people in fucking Michigan?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like if there were, I would know, but I also could just be ignorant to the fact that we have Amish people. They put like this. They're definitely not in Detroit.
Yeah. They're not in Milwaukee either, but like we're from just outside of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But in the other like parts like further west, the further you get away from Lake Michigan, the more Amish there is and shit. And they actually have like Amish crossing signs and shit. Like they're just out there fucking
Amish crossing. That's
a
real sign.
For real, dude. For real.
Yeah.
Just like you'd see deer crossing. It's like a fucking little buggy and people that are in denial of electricity.
Well, now
these
on this
moving
train,
vehicles, fucking spacecrafts everywhere.
not the train Amish people. They was using all the type of
the train Amish people.
Yeah.
But it's a Mennonite. I think there's a difference between Mennonites. I think use some of the amenities. Yeah,
Isn't that a group of people in like X-Men comics?
It should be.
Yeah, X-Men
Mennonites?
97, right?
X-Men, the new X-Men that's coming out, I think has them.
Haven't watched it yet.
The Mennonites are coming.
But
Quick,
yeah,
get the
man.
hot pads. Yeah.
So yeah, taking the train out to Austin. The train's the bee's knees. It just takes way longer, but you get to use your phone, all that good stuff. So going out to Austin, I'm going out there super late. Everybody else went out there, mid-pandemic?
Yeah.
And they're all rich now. Like all my friends are rich. They went out there. Rogan waved his magic wand, which is his penis.
Yeah.
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 They're all right. Look, I told them I'm going out there to slob on some knob, man. Who do I have to fucking jerk
get my
off?
career
This
off,
is just a stepping stone to get on
Wait, what
Joe
are you guys
Rogan's
offering my career off
podcast.
TikTok? Yeah.
No, in real life, it just seems like they're having so much fun out there, man. Like the mothership, Rogan's Club, it seems like they're just having fun. There's a lot of spots out there. And not that LA is not fun, but like anything else in life, it's like, you want to do more things. You want to experience more things. It's like, imagine if you were in a relationship with a young lady and it was an open relationship and you never fucked anybody else.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's how I feel about LA.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
Variety is the spice of life.
You know what
got
I'm
to
saying?
try a bunch of shit.
Yeah. So.
Well, you got to, when you go out there, do the thing. And then when you come back, you visit, or then you got to come back on the show and you got to let us know how it is and give us a comparison.
Hey, man, I'm down.
You already sold us on the trains. So
yeah, man. I'm trying to get people to understand, like, all right, this is the last thing I'll say about the train. Like I said, you get there, right? You're already, so that's, now you're not paying for that long ass Uber from the airport to wherever you're going. You can take anything you want. You can take a bunch of drinks. You can take bombs on that bitch. I wouldn't advise it, but you can do that, right?
There's no
And
TSA.
You can be on your computer, all that stuff, and you don't get cavity searched in your butthole. That's it. So train is great, trying to convince everybody. But yes, I'm taking a train out to Austin, and when I come back, hopefully I'll have not just something more to talk about, but I will have experienced some things that I've been denied. Is denied the right word?
How long have you been out here?
2016, 15, 16.
Okay.
So that's what I was getting at. There's a lot of things that I won't say denied, but I just haven't done. Partly because I started comedy so early, partly because I've been like out here, but like relationships, long-term relationships with women, I haven't done that. I've been slinging jokes. I ain't been slinging dick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
You're focusing on the career.
there's a bunch of guns that, let's say, I've seen. I didn't have them because the laws are so tight here, right? But I could have them out in fucking Texas, to play with some.
I think they give you one right when you move there. They're like, "Here's your thanks for coming to Texas. Here's your gun, your complimentary
Your
gun,
luggage and your gun. Yeah.
It's like equivalent to like a mint on a pillow at a fucking hotel. It's like,
Be careful, there's 9 under that pillow.
Yeah,
man. All the not all, but a lot of the wonderful women that I enjoy in entertainment are from there. Meg Thee Stallion, Erykah Badu, Beyonce.
Erykah Badu lives there.
Yeah, well, she's from Texas.
Oh,
Does
she still live there?
She seems like she'd be from like a mystical place.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure she lives in Narnia now.
Yeah, for real.
Erykah Badu.
Yeah, she's pretty hot though. And,
yeah.
and I don't know if she's single or not, but if you're out there, Erykah,
So you Badu her?
yeah,
She is single and is in unison. She is together with everyone. She is everyone and everyone is her.
yeah, she seems
And
cool
she
as fuck.
sells vagina scented candles.
Yeah, man. That's
Really?
Of her scent, yeah. You can get one.
Well, I wish I could smell.
Link below.
Down below.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to go out there for that and like all the fucking barbecue. I haven't been able to barbecue living in an apartment and in a van.
Dude, my neighbor just got a smoker next door.
Yeah.
We're about to I moved into a building and my neighbor's another comic, Alex Siciliaga, and like I have a certain set of skills, not like Liam Neeson, but I have a blue collar dude that can build shit. So like I've been fucking pimping out his place and his patio and my own. So now we're smoking meats over there. You'd be moving to get on the train too early, but when you come back, we'll fucking, you can compare the LA barbecue scene coming off of Hollywood and Stanley versus the Austin one.
You know, and a lot of people have been asked, the few people I know have been like, okay, so what, you moving to? People always say, a lot of people, not a lot
Everybody,
of people. My like 4 friends were like, oh, so you moving to Austin? And it's like, I don't own any property. I don't have any children.
I fucking support this 100% for sure. You're doing the right thing.
This is what I'm getting at, right? No property, no children, no significant other.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, no vehicle because the city stole my shit. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really moving. I'm going.
Right.
And wherever I go, that's just where I'm at.
Yeah,
so like if I go there and in 3 months, I'm like, I'm going to Africa. It's like, I'm not really moving. I'm just going. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't pulling no kids out of school. Yeah. I ain't selling shit. I'm just taking my human body there.
Yeah.
See what the fuck happens.
I think that's like the coolest thing. And I think so many people envy that, the ability to have freedom, no matter who it is. Like they could be super successful or whatever and have all this shit, but they don't have like that baggage that kind of contradicts or not contradicts, determines whether or not they can go someplace or do something. Yeah. Like you have that freedom to do, which not many people, another job. Not many people do. And that's really cool and admirable. And also like, it's inspiring in a lot of ways to have somebody like that or know somebody that does that. That's super cool. Do you have a place like set up? Or are you going to go there and like try to find a place and maybe rent or Airbnb or like?
That's funny. That's the other part, right? So for as many pros as it has its equal set of cons.
Sure.
So essentially not having a foundation, let's call it, it's like, all right. Any and every day, you're like, what the fuck is happening? What's going on? What's going to go?
Dude, the thing is, you're in like the fraternal organization of comics, right? You have a brotherhood of like, you're gonna fucking get some couches to surf on. You'll fucking lay on your feet, like super. Like I have no doubt in my mind that like you're a good dude and you're well connected and shit. And you fucking like you're gonna you're doing the right thing. And you like you said, not having any belongings and shit and being able to just be untethered, man, that's fucking super cool. I'm envious of you to like the degree you'll never understand because like I got a kid and I'm not leaving my kid and be like, we talk about this all the time, but I love my kid, but there's like there's different types of dads. There's dads that are like, because I talk to other fathers and shit. Like, oh, I love my kid. Yeah, how many days a week do you have? Oh no, he lives in DC. It's like, what the fuck is that's not the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like you got to be present for your child. That's why
I like how you said that though. How you said in the beginning, there's different types of dad because it's not like this is right and that's wrong. No, it's just different types of dad. How old is your son?
Yeah,
I'm just assuming.
Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had him. Girl, flush. Next.
How old?
He's gonna be 5 in August.
5. Yeah. So something my daddy told me along. I don't even know why. It's not like I get kids, but he told me this when I was a kid, which makes the perfect sense. I think it was more so for us me and my brothers to enjoy ourselves. He said, you're a kid for like a short amount of time. You're an adult for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So if there's a time frame to pick to be around and to be a good dad, definitely.
Dude, there's like
you should probably be when he's a kid.
Oh my God. When they start breaking down the fucking facts on these, like, obviously my like fucking Instagram account is like, I'll get like a lot of parent shit, right? So in my feed will come through. My explore page is either like fucking chicks shaking their ass and tits or like fucking dad memes and stuff, right? And one of the dad ones is like, you only get 10 Christmases to play Santa at best, and they break down like you only have 16 fucking tooth fairies. Like whoa! It's just like all this exactly. There's like I think my kid has more teeth than that. I was in there trying to count today. I was brushing his teeth. I'm like,
I was counting years. I wasn't even counting teeth. No, you're right. It might
like my kid has 36 teeth.
Some of these teeth permanent. Like what's going on here? But there's just like when they break it down like that, where there's like up until like 5, there's like they're kind of set in their way. So it's like if you put a street sign in concrete, right, and it's not level, you got till about 5 to get that shit fucking straight. Otherwise, it's fucked up the rest of the life. You know what I mean? So you got this small window, and you really need to be there. And I'm not saying I'm gonna walk out of my kid in August when he turns 5. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Ron, I'm on the train. Come pick me up. Where are we living?
Funny.
But like, when they kind of break that down, you're like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, man, it is very fucking quick. And you've been out here since 2015, 2016. So that, 9 years has gone by extremely fast, right? Now, how old were you when you moved out here?
24.
Okay.
24.
Yeah, it's about the same age we were when we moved out here 20 years ago.
Yo, man, I'll tell you, like, time, I can't necessarily say it flew by. Some parts of it flew by, but I think much like a lot of people, if not everybody, I do personally feel robbed of like a good 3 years where I would have done
for sure
something, whether that something I would have done was great or ended in my, destruction. But like, I'm telling you, it went from 2019 when everything was a fucking party and on the up and up to like now here.
Yeah, bro, I feel you entirely on that.
It's like, yo, everybody else got their years. But I guess that's probably how like high schoolers of that time.
Yeah.
And you like literally can't get that back.
Yeah.
Like there's adults right now, 50, 60 years old that are still talking about shit that they did in high school.
For sure.
And there's a whole generation of high schoolers that just won't have that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like they were prepped to go through that like someone who's homeschooled. They was all ready for prom king and
right. For sure.
Like, they're gonna
next year's mirror year, man. It's fucking middle school, about senior. Yeah, high school. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, they're gonna be weird. They're either gonna be like the greatest people we have, or the worst. But they're not just gonna be normal. To just be literally robbed of high school. Like you don't even know who you are.
Yes, you're class of 2000, 2001, right?
Yeah, you're not hired.
You can tell by your awkwardness.
Yeah, man.
Like, what are some things like coming from Michigan and then moving out here? Like, what are some things that
Did you come straight out here?
What do you mean?
Did you come straight from Michigan to LA, or did you go like by way of like?
Well, yeah, no, I guess straight out here.
Okay.
So I started in Detroit and then came out here. I mean, I traveled a little bit everywhere doing comedy, but I hadn't lived anywhere else.
Yeah.
So from living in Michigan and then coming out to California, what were some things that like you got to experience that were like exciting and great? And then what are the things that you had mentioned that you felt like deprived from or weren't able to experience? Like some good and the bad, I guess, is what I could say from your time out here.
A good experience. Give me an idea.
Like when we first moved out here, like we went to like some fucking shit bar and it was like a New Year's thing and we were like, it was down the street somewhere and all of a sudden they're like, all right, hey, what the fuck is her name?
Macy Gray.
Macy Gray's coming out to sing, for New Year's. And I was like, what the fuck? Like Macy Gray, like that's like a real person, like a famous ass person. What the fuck she doing here? It's like, she's just here. She's going to sing for us tonight. And we're like, oh, this is crazy.
This is
like,
all before she did stand up too. This is like,
she did stand up?
Yeah, I was going to say, what? She did. I didn't even know about that.
I mean, she does seem funny, but I didn't know that.
Yeah. But like things like that where you just kind of like, you have these like weird experiences that just kind of like happen upon you by living in a really kind of crazy city where everyone that seems to be in entertainment seems to be here. So you have like, like this fucking kid was on like stage with Lady Gaga and Metallica a few years ago because they needed an extra. Like, and then like, oh
yeah.
Yeah. Just like,
bro, it's literally the worst performance in the Grammys history and shit.
Where they like somebody like unplugged the mic.
Guy next to me fucking like kicked the fucking
That's what
mic.
he says. I'm pretty sure it was Tony.
It wasn't me. But this, and like James Hetfield fucking like lost his shit. It was goes down in history as the worst performance of that Grammys, and I think in general. But you can see my dumb ass, and just because I have a giant head in perspective of the camera, it looks like I'm doing like a 3-way singing with them because like he leans in and sings on the same mic as like Lady Gaga. That's my dumb ass when I fucking.
But like instances like that, or meeting people that maybe you looked up to, or like somebody that, or you performed a comedy set, and there's maybe somebody there that you were like, oh shit, like that person's here, or like there's just opportunities that you wouldn't get in Michigan. That we wouldn't get in Wisconsin either, that we were like, oh, these kind of things just kind of happen out here. Like you just.
Yeah. Well, I'll take you back for a second to Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And long story short, my upbringing was a relatively well-rounded one, right? So I did some things that a lot of other people, definitely a lot of inner city Black children didn't do. We traveled a lot, went to different, well, not necessarily countries. Cancun, what is that? An island.
That's a different country.
Yeah, in Canada, that's a different country. But, we went different places. We camped, we fished, we had boats, we had, like little motorbikes and stuff like that. I had a big, giant family. I remember there was I don't know if this was nationwide or just Michigan, but I think it was 2003, 2004. There was a power outage. Do you guys know about that?
I was living out here at that time.
So maybe it was just like at least the Midwest or something like that. Anyway, everybody else, it was like a big scary thing. For us, it was like a week-long party because, you know, we had generators. Like I said, we already had camping equipment. Like every school was out every day. Every day we had like 75 people at our house.
Yeah.
You know, even though I lived in Detroit, we had a nice plot of land. So we had like an acre of backyard, would have deers jumping over and stuff like that. We had dogs, puppies, you know, all type of stuff. Now, of course,
sounds great.
Yeah, you had an amazing childhood, dude.
Yeah, well, I'm like, fuck, this is better than mine. Like,
my house got taken away by the bank.
No. Listen,
I'm like, I can only go down from there. So I guess fucking I would move again too.
I was just giving you the nice version of it. I didn't tell you about the bank taking our house and all of the alcohol and abuse and fucking, you know, gambling habits. And fucking fights and all that, but that's not important. Yeah. I just bring that part up to say, so I had a relatively well-rounded upbringing as far as experiences, you know, like I did off the beaten path activities like robotics. I was on the robotics team. Okay. I played tennis. I swam as opposed to, you know, some of the other, you know, more known things. But so I have to say, I wasn't not impressed when I came here. I was just not unfamiliar when I came here to other things like that, right? Yeah. So like even back in Detroit, I got a uncle, Steve Smith, in the NBA. Well, not now, of course. In the NBA, my other uncles, like big time artists out in Detroit, type of guy, and you know, stuff like that. So I came here, and I don't know. I guess in my mind, it was just if you do the work, it's going to happen. So I was never surprised. Like if you go to school, you do your work, and you graduate, are you like shocked? Are you like, whoa? No, it just kind of comes with it. So at the beginning, I kind of treated things like that, like, well, of course it's supposed to. It wasn't until like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago for that matter, where I realized like, no, these are some fortunate things that are happening to you, that have been happening to you, that you are not entitled to. Even if you do the work, you're not entitled to it. For sure. People work their whole fucking lives and don't get a quarter of the opportunities and experiences you've been able to get.
You got on this podcast, you know, you're doing something right.
I got a nice, you know.
He got a free bubbly.
No, I'm not going to say what it is, but I have a carbonated beverage that is 0 calories.
Water with bubbles.
Not a sponsor yet. All right, come on. We're trying to.
Right. But so no, I came out here and some of those like experiences, if you will, are like, you know, coming down here and then just getting a call from God knows who. And I hadn't even been out here, you know, 2-3 months, and I really hadn't given my number out. And they're like, hey, come do this show. And it's like, so, you know, some big time show. And I'm like, how'd you even get my number?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we got this pilot for you. And I'm like, who's we? I don't even have a manager. Like, who are you? How do you have like, exactly. And like all of a sudden now I'm like, on set with Chris Spencer and Cedric the Entertainer, doing this thing, and I'm like, I literally don't even know how this happened, and to this day, I don't know how it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure it's somebody who I'm just skipping over in my life who means everything to me, but I literally don't know how it came to be.
Right.
Even recently, and then I'll get to the dark shit, you know, or I'll put a little dark mark in there. Even recently, I got a call for punch-up work for the Bad Boys 4 script, right? And long story short, let's just say it could have went a lot differently, but it didn't. Whatever. I gave them the jokes, whether they use them or not. Who's to say? Who cares? You know, they gave me a nice firm handshake. That's all. I got the story. But with all of those different things happening, there are 2 things in particular that was taking place that had me interact with these different opportunities the way in which I did. One being, back in Detroit, I had like a group of friends, just all different type of group of friends, but a particular group of friends in particular. And it was like, in my mind, which is kind of foolish, in my mind, I'm like, none of this shit I'm doing out here in LA means anything until all my friends get here. Once we get here and we start doing things together, then it's really on. All while I'm poo-pawing things that I'm being blessed with myself.
Yeah.
Why? That's a whole nother story. I could talk about that forever. That's one. 2 was me enjoying life and pulling from a well of energy in my own life that I thought was infinite. and I didn't know it wasn't infinite until it started running dry.
Yeah.
In other words, it's like, I'm going out late, hanging out, drinking, not really smoking, but whatever. Let's say drinking, smoking, fucking, doing all different type of crazy things. And it's like, how about pull it together and like take advantage of the fact that you're writing for Will Smith and Martin Lawrence right now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck that. This girl said I'm cute.
Yeah.
I didn't have to pay rent. I was living in a van. So now I got no rent. I'm next to Martin Lawrence and Sid the Entertainer, and I got the same manager as Kevin Hart, no rent. I'm at the Comedy Store getting my dick sucked. But, life's good, man. You know, sure, I wake up sometimes and don't know where I'm at or how I got here. And sure, I had to do a couple weeks in jail, but who hasn't? You know what I'm saying?
Typical LA story, yeah.
No big deal. Yeah. But I say all that to say, I've had a lot of wonderful experiences, and every day I learn how much I didn't and don't know, which is one of the most interesting things to learn. When you learn constantly how much you don't know, it can be scary, it can be humbling, but I'm trying to take it as a enlightening, situation.
So those sound like good things and like bad things at the same time almost for you.
In their life?
It is. And but the thing is, like, so, you touched on, you're just a touch over the 30 mark, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like something that, like, I was kind of on like the crest of realizing at that age, and really kind of like at 40, you realize how much life is like an arcade game, right? Where it's just like every day, year, whatever you want to break it down to, is another round, and you gotta there's going to be more zombies coming this time, and you gotta learn from your mistakes from last time. And you got to, make sure you don't have the same shortcomings. And, like you said, that well of energy is not
it's a Call of Duty reference for people that were just wondering what that was about.
Call of Duty, Black Ops Zombies, that's the favorite ones. Black Ops 6, coming out, sponsor.
Not a sponsor yet. Please be
But like, there's like that shit where like, if you don't like the simple thing of like being on time, being punctuality, right? Oh, yeah. So like, there's these little things that like, but you will. There's like, at some point in time, you might be so perfect in all the other fields that now that's the thing you want to tackle. So that might not be your priority yet. And it's not that big a deal, but like, I don't know how many times I've seen this fucking thing across my feed. It's like, if you fold your bed in the morning, you're 200% more likely to become a millionaire. I'm like, well, I've been making my bed for fucking years. So when's this $1 million going to come from my bank account, right? But like, it is something where it's like, all right, you've already accomplished one thing that day. What else can you do? And for the most part, like just doing like, shit, like it comes across your desk and you have a chance to make the decisions to be a bad one, staying out to get your fucking dick sucked, waking up at some random place, or you fucking go to bed at the right time and then you wake up the next day and you're fucking more alert to be able to punch up the script and shit. So there's just like those little things that like the next time Bad Boys 5 comes on your lap, right? You're going to fucking have more of like a hyper awareness to that kind of shit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just that we were talking about it a little earlier, but just that foundation or lack thereof, is a big deal. Like, because I haven't had a foundation, I've been able to do and take advantage of a great deal of like off the beaten path opportunities. But again, because of that lack of foundation, like if somebody's like, hey, can you do this? It's like, I don't know. I got to find out if I'm going to have power today.
Yeah.
The little stuff, like when the biggest thing of your day is what time you're going to take a shower. And that's only difficult because where are you going to park? When that's your day, as opposed to what work am I going to do, then just everything is kind of different. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm going out to Austin, I'll be in a more.
So do you have a van right now?
No, the city stole it.
So you had a van. So I'm trying to do
got towed, impounded, and then
fucking. So I hadn't paid for, I don't know, something. I had old tags on there. I paid for something, but I don't know what it was. Anyway, I go out of town. I go back to Detroit to kind of chill out for a little bit, give the van to my buddy to watch. He goes out of town. He calls me, yo, they took your van. I'm like, where was you at? I'm out of town. Yes, so am I. That's why I gave it to you. But he didn't charge me to watch it for as long as he did, so I couldn't get mad at him. But by the time I found out where it was, the tow impound or whatever, and I was like, all right, how much to get it out? It was like, oh, it's been here for $4,000. I was like, suck my dick, man. $4,000. I paid $2,000 for it 10 years ago.
Right.
I'm not giving y'all $4,000. Hell, I don't have $4,000.
Yeah, for sure.
That was that. But prior to that, I had a van. I was out here doing van life. I was doing van life before van life was a hashtag.
Yeah.
That's how long ago I was doing it. And I wasn't doing it to like 10 ways to this. None of that. I was fucking grinding it out.
Maybe you should have.
I'd be rich.
For sure. That's the sad thing. Had you taken advantage of like self, hey guys, it's Ron over here in my van. I'm doing this. Like you probably could have been.
There's different versions of that. But
No,
I think too though, like the reason why, like I watch a lot of van life people. I'm trying to do that actually, but I'm trying to do it on a different end where I want to be financially secure, but live in a van and just travel the country and kind of do train stuff and live like,
no, it's
like,
definitely doable.
Like, yeah, but
it's easy actually if you're doing it the right way, but vices can definitely make it difficult. Vices and
parking.
No, I mean, that's, you just deal with that. Vices and okay. So like for me, it's almost like van life by itself can be its own thing. Like that could just be your life. Just like raising kids.
Right.
Raising kids can just be your life.
Yeah.
And you could have no other dreams, or maybe you do have dreams, but raising kids could fill your entire life up.
Mm-hmm.
Living in a van can fill your entire life up. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be fulfilling, just as raising kids would be fulfilling.
Right.
But when you're doing van life and you're trying to do something else,
right,
that can be a bit much. And the more you put in, the more you got to sacrifice. I'm not necessarily, or at least I haven't been one for sacrifice. So it's like, no, I want to hang out all night. I'm going to fuck all the people in the world. And I want to not pay rent. And I want to have money. Well, something's got to give.
Right. Right.
And the thing that gave was like my future comfort. So I did a lot of things at the time to be comfortable in the moment. And I'm paying for it now. But it's all good.
But that's
freeing though. It's liberating.
That's like the most like that's the thing. That's the risk that people don't want to take, or the adventure that people want to like kind of go about, right? So the cool thing about like a lot of people that we have on this podcast, including ourselves, is that we ask ourselves kind of like, what, like nobody really knows what the fuck life is, what it's about, what's the purpose of it, like how are you living it right, how are you living it wrong, how can you do it better? And nobody knows. Like there's no like this is how you do it, and if you don't do it this way it's wrong, or if you don't do this you're not there is no right or wrong way. There really isn't. So like it's interesting to hear people's perspective and people's journey of going through their own life and making the choices they make and changing and or adapting or being like, hey, I tried this, or I'm going to do this now. Or like everybody's got a whole different way of like how they're going to spend this time like that we got. So
yeah, man. And I find it interesting how many of us as people, believe that we do know how it should go. And it's like, oh, this is how you live life. And then you just ask the question either to that person, or if you are that person to yourself, it's like, all right, cool. This is how it goes. You've been doing it. How's that working out?
Yeah.
Is it cool? Like I talk to my family, particularly my mother, about these type of things quite often. And let's just say she's of the mindset and comes from the school of, I don't know, have a place to stay and have a good income. And I'm not saying that's wrong at all, but for me, it's like, okay, then what?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that then what seems so big to me. Like there's been many times where I've had nice places to stay and tons of money. It's like, all right, then what?
Right.
It's like, how much is money worth if you don't buy anything?
Right.
What is a place to stay if you ain't doing shit?
Yeah.
Right.
So I try to, even if it's wrong, I'm open to find that out too. But I try to.
Comes down to like happiness, really.
Yeah, I try to fill my life up with not even just happiness. I'm looking for happiness. I'm looking for peace, really.
That's like the ultimate goal. Is like if you're happy and peaceful with what you are and who you've become and what you're doing at that moment, then that is success. That is more successful than you could be talking to a billionaire and they could be fucking miserable and fucking not like, I'm miserable and I fucking hate this and that and like have a shit ass life. And a guy maybe living in his van that's fucking like, I'm fucking having the time of my life. I'm fucking going out. I'm doing shows. I have no strings attached to anything. I can do whatever the fuck I want. But this guy's like, I got a board meeting and I got to fucking do this and I have all this responsibility. Like that person, as crazy as it sounds, would switch places with you in a heartbeat because of that choice and that freedom and those experiences and how you're experiencing life and what you're able to do that they're not able to do. And that happiness stems a lot from like, where you are in life and where you want to go.
Now, don't get me wrong. It definitely, as I'm sure you all know, it definitely has not all been happiness, but that is, I think, the risk that I've been willing to take that a lot of other people that I either know personally or know of are not necessarily willing to take. And I understand that. Like, if that risk is too risky for you, then I get it. But it's like, in order to have, let's say, great happiness or very peaceful peace, you've got to run the risk of having the opposite of that. And some people are not willing to do that. And I completely understand it, but it's just not me. You know what I'm saying? So like some people are like, you know what? I'm not super blissful right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not super sad. I'd rather it stay here before I try to get super happy and run the risk of being super sad. I mean, it's almost like gambling. You know, like I'm not a gambler, but it's like, I mean, if you play big, you win big.
Yeah, right.
You also lose big. But when the alternative is you're in the casino doing nothing, like if life is the casino, it's like, well, there's no way I'm about to sit here and do nothing.
Yeah,
well, it's funny you say that because if you look
true.
at like life like an EKG readout at a hospital bed, right? The peaks and valleys is when you're alive, right? That flat line is a dead existence. And those people that are in a comfort zone never really live, where you're just kind of like, your mom, for example, not to say that, but I mean, like people that are like, got to get a house and a job, a steady income, and then you just sit there and you wait.
But to that point, and I guess in defense of my mother, and this is the point.
Sorry,
that,
Ron's
like,
mom.
But unsubscribe. She brings us lots of subscribers.
Oh, shit. No, this is the point that
you did a great job.
This is the point I've tried to get across to anybody, even sometimes in conversation with my mother, is that is not bad to continue with your heart analogy. It's like, if that's my heart rate, I've got to operate in accordance to my own heart rate.
Yeah.
Somebody just being able to buy what they want on the weekend, watch a good movie, walk their dog, and fucking go to Jamaica once or twice a year. That might give them the same peaks and valleys that, snorting cocaine off of a fucking pangolin's ass gives me. Now I gotta do some wild shit and somebody else doing some very tame shit, but as long as you're happy or as long as you're being titillated, you know what I'm saying? As long as your soul is being titillated. So for me, it's like, this is just how I operate. I wouldn't tell nobody, start doing stand up to live life. And I wouldn't tell nobody who, just is in a book club that they ain't living life.
Right.
But because what we do is so off the beaten path, like people are pretty vocal about telling me like, why don't you just, and it's like, well, why don't you just?
Yeah, for real.
I say that shit to my, like, when I moved out here for music, 20 years ago, and whenever I'd go back home, I'd have like, people in my family be like, so when are you gonna like, would you have a time limit on like the music and like, when are you gonna get a real job and all that kind of stuff? And I was like, what are you gonna do when you retire? Like, do you ever think about that? And they're like, I'm like, well, yeah, you're gonna have all the time in the world. And all you know is like banking or fucking whatever the fuck job you did. what are you going to do? That's the real question that everybody evades.
Everybody's Tupperware.
Everybody's scared to face that fact that they really have to answer that question. What do I want to do with my life? And they take that whole time that you work, for like the majority of your life, where you can evade that question, and you can be like, well, I'm just doing financing, or I'm working 9 to 5, or I'm doing my thing. And then at the end, when you retire, if you're lucky enough to do so, then you're still left with that question. What the fuck do I do? What is my point? What makes me happy? What is the point of all this? And nobody fucking knows. That's why it's so interesting to hear when people say like, oh, you got to do this and you got to do this. Like, why? Because you're going to still have to face the fucking question of what the fuck is this all about? What the fuck you want to do with your life? What fucking makes you happy? And nobody fucking knows.
70 trying to figure that out.
Yeah, but you're still left with that question of like, oh shit, like, what do I want to do? Now I have all the time in the world, and I can fucking think about like what's going to make me happy, what fulfills me, and not a lot of people know. So to be able to take a risk on something that that you're passionate about is leap years ahead of the majority of people that don't take that risk and don't know that that's something that really fulfills them, whether it's successful or not, it makes any money, it makes a dime or not. Like the experiences that I was able to have by just pursuing something that I loved and cared about, enabled me to have these experiences that no one could buy. You can't buy those experiences, whether they're good or bad. Like you can't get that. Like you just can't.
Definitely. And I mean, like, asking that question at 70 is the idea of that is kind of interesting to me, because it's like, what do I want to do? Because my thing is like, what do you want to do, and do it now? I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I was asked certain questions and the time in which I was asked them maybe like, change the way that my brain operates. But like, I remember my daddy saying stuff like, and my mother, actually, both of them. But it's like, are you living to work or working to live?
Right.
Now, obviously, we'd all like to think that we're working to live. Yeah. Cool. But now, what is living for you?
Right.
And I feel like that question is not asked to us, and definitely not answered enough, because, like, I mean, shit. That's why the concept of working for any length of time is kind of interesting to me, because like, all right, cool. How much is a house? Let's say not here, but how much is a house? What is it? 50,000? Can you get a house for 50,000? Sure. You can get somewhere to stay for 50,000.
Yeah.
You can get a car for 5,000. All right, cool. So how long does it take?
What year are you talking about?
Right?
A used house and a used car. Yeah, you can do that. You can do
understandable, right? Yeah. But even still, if it's anywhere in this country, unless you're thinking about kids, which let's take kids and a significant other out the gate, because
just a solo
transportation in a house. Yeah,
that's so we now talking about $55,000.
Yeah,
let's just double it just for the fuck of it. All right, now we talking about $100,000, right?
Yeah.
How long do it take to get $100,000? Like, is your whole life just about $100,000?
Right.
And if so, like, what happens when you get it and do it? In other words, there's a lot of people who have a house, who have a car, and what do you even need a car for if you ain't going nowhere? Have somewhere to stay, have things to eat. Now what?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, now the fuck, like, what's going on?
That's my
now?
point. Like, so many people, and I won't say any names, but there's so many people that I know that have a house, have a kid, have all the things, have all the stuff, and they're like, shit, if I could give this all up, I would fucking give this up to just be single, no kids, no kids, no marriage, just be single again, and fucking like just not have anything, sleep on a fucking couch. Like, I would give it all up, because the freedom is and the freedom and ability to pursue something that you are interested in is like it trumps everything.
Well,
not to say that
my personal thought, like, the freedom is cool, but much like money, the freedom doesn't mean anything either unless you're doing something with it. So money is simply the opportunity and or option to do something, right? And if you're not exercising those opportunities or options, I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything, but my question would be, then what is it? In other words, like, there's a lot of people like, man, I wish I had the freedom. Do you wish you had the freedom? Or would you like to do this insert thing here? And that insert, a lot of people aren't thinking about.
Right.
And it's like, if we as a people thought about that, the thing we want to do or the thing we want more than the freedom or the money, you might find that that thing you want, you could get without the money, or that thing you want to do, you could do even with the lack of time you have now. But because we're so fixated on, and I don't know, blame the Rothschilds maybe, whoever invented money, right? And jobs. Yeah. Because we're so fixated on the option to get things and the opportunity to do things, we don't even think about what the thing is.
Yeah.
So if I can get you to think about getting money and being free, you ain't gonna be thinking about what you would even spend the money on or what you would do if you were free. How do I know this? Because there have been times where I've been broke as fuck. So broke, I don't want to watch TV. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do nothing. I get the money, right? I feel better because I got the money and I still don't do nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was I bummed out for?
Right.
Like you gotta do something. And watch this. None of this means nothing if a motherfucker is, I ain't even gonna say happy, content with life. Yeah. If that's what you want to do, if what you want to do is nothing, cool. You want to be a monk? You want to be a what is it? Who cuts their dick off in what, Munich?
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Munich, yeah.
Do that, Munich or Munich? Whatever it is. You want to be a dickless motherfucker? You want to shave your clit off and be a whatever those are.
Female eunuch, yeah.
Do it.
A phonic.
Yeah.
You want to do comedy and fucking, what have I done? Try to fuck Ellen DeGeneres, I've never done
that. I think that's the ultimate challenge.
But yeah, man, no, I'm just trying to enjoy life to the best of my ability and help others do the same. That's my, what would you call that? Mission statement? Yeah. It's my mission statement for life is enjoy life to the best of my ability and help others do the same.
I think that's one thing that everybody has in common in Austin or Los Angeles or a city where people have gone to that are creative types. Like they all are those types of people that are trying to pursue something outside of like the places where they came from, so that they can't really pursue that in Michigan or Wisconsin. They can't get the same kind of community that they can in those types of places. Yeah. You're going to get a little bit of pushback or like, what the fuck? Like, why don't you get a regular job? Or why don't you just quit the comedy and like do a normal job that's a sustainable, whatever thing. What
am I sustaining?
Exactly. 100%. So at the end of the day, I think people are always going to be left with, what do you want to do? What fulfills you? And, what is your end goal and how happy are you like in that whole process? And I think the best saying is the best things in life are free. And I think that is very true. And it's a saying that everybody knows, because I think whoever fucking said that first was like, shit, he probably had everything or she, or maybe they didn't have everything. And they're like, fuck, I'm happy as fuck and I don't have anything. And the best things I have is my friends and conversation and experiences that didn't cost me anything. But those are the things when you look back on, or even like look forward in the future, it's not like typically like this fancy ass meal or a place that I stayed or whatever. Like all those things are obsolete. It really is, who was I with? How was that experience? Was I laughing? Like the best times I've ever had was like with my friends in the shittiest places ever, just hanging out and talking and joking around and crying. I was laughing so hard, I was fucking crying and shit. And I'm like, those are the best times I've ever had in my life. Like they didn't cost money. You know what I mean?
The best things in life are free. And I'm going to add my fucking 2 cents on it.
Sure, Flair on there.
Yep. Thank you, Flair. The best things in life are free. And the best people in life get paid for them. Like if you can get paid for those best things in life, which is what we do, like the best things in life are what? Hanging out with friends, talking shit, doing drugs, chasing puss, chasing dick. Those are all we get paid to do that.
Yeah.
So now I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong in that, but that's just me trying to be fancy and add some flair to what
But there isn't anything wrong in it.
Yeah, I mean,
there isn't, because there is no right or wrong. It's all a big fucking, like, nobody fucking knows.
Yeah.
If anybody says that's wrong, then you don't fucking know. Like, you just don't know.
You know, we get paid to go around, and that's what's funny. Like, the whole, this is a long time ago, like when I first started comedy, and long story short, I was having a disagreement with one of my older lady cousins. And in short, she's pretty much like, well, you're poor, blah, 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 blah. And I don't remember exactly what I said to her at the time, but I remember like shortly after that, and, you know, definitely, you know, as of recently, thinking like, I may be poor, but people like you go to work so that you all can enjoy what I am and what I do. So it's like, you know, when I'm at work, doctors are there, lawyers are there, people who just broke up with somebody are there, people are celebrating, you know, like that's what, so my job and my free time is the same thing. So like to have a regular job, it's like, man, I don't necessarily want to live life for the weekend.
Right.
And I'm not saying that anything's necessarily wrong with that. It's just not what I'm interested in doing. Like, you know, I'm going to work and I don't know, fucking painting walls, unless that's what you enjoy doing. Like some shit is
we
fun.
did that, and it was fun.
What, painting walls?
We were professional. But here's the thing: because us two dumbasses did it together, and we fucking cracked each other
again. It was
and
like
we cracked up the other tradesmen around us and stuff. But it was one of those things where like, and that was before I even did stand up. It was just one of those things where like, you know, the funny guy on the job site, and then it kind of, you know, snowballs into that, you know, creative element.
It wasn't like what you were doing, it was like who you were with.
Exactly.
And like the environment that you created around whatever you were doing, that made it fun.
There's
and
like,
it made it fulfilling.
There's other things I'd like to do. I just happen to be doing this one. And, you know, if I have it my way, I'll find some space and time in life to do those as well. But I'd like to, like, what would you call it? Be essentially a farmer. You know, I want to raise some chickens and shit and plant some turnips and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about.
I really like doomsday prepper type shit.
Yeah.
Not the whole cynical aspect of it, thinking that zombies are going to come, but like
the off grid and like being self-sufficient.
Yeah, man. Like the idea of taking a chicken from an egg, right? Hatching it, raising it, you know, thank you for your soul, killing it, but being able to put it in some glass jar and then you can eat it 2 years later. That's just fucking fun. Like canning food. Yeah. It just seems like the shit to me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I like doing stuff like that, or, you know, I want to do stuff like that and fucking cooking, you know, all of these things. Like if you enjoy what you're doing, fine. But personally, and I could be as wrong as two left shoes, personally, I think that we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. Yeah. Shout out to that reference if you get that, if you're a real one. But you know, we've been tricked essentially into believing that there's this thing that's most important when, if anything, it's least important. Yeah. And there's this thing that's most important, and in order to truly enjoy life, you have to get this. And it's like, did you try going the other way yet? Yeah. And so, man, and I get it. You know, we're social creatures. So when we see people going one way, we go that way as well. I ain't saying that I'm, you know, special or whatever, but for whatever reason, I got a glimpse at another direction. I was like, hey, I think this make more sense over here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You see that in the flows of traffic in LA, right? You see like 2 lanes going to the same red light, and then for whatever reason the left lane's just fucking backed up, and you're like, why is no one in the right lane? And I'm always the guy that's like, let me just check this right lane out. And like 9 times out of 10 no one's in there, and for some reason the fucking mass is just like ants following the fucking leader, right? And sometimes there's an obstruction, like, fuck, let me get back over. But you're still gonna get back over, and you're still gonna be either in a better position than you were, or right back to where you started off. But at least you tried, right? And that's the thing that I don't think people execute that option of trying as much as they could.
If you fail, it really sucks for some people. Some people don't have the stomach to fail in that way.
Very true. Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, okay, so when I was in Detroit, I wanted to go / come to LA, right? Didn't have the money. So I said, well, I can live in a van. Well, who wants to do that? But that's when it's like, what's more important, like doing the thing,
right,
or being as comfortable as you believe you need to or should be while doing the thing. So like let's see here. I wear a fanny pack. Now this is actually not my typical fanny pack. This is
bigger.
My
Travel pack.
My typical fanny pack is smaller than this. This is my scooter fanny pack. So you know, like the Bird and Lime scooters.
Yeah.
I bought one of those, and this is so like I can have access to my. Okay. Anyway, looks dorky, right?
I got a fanny pack. I wore one yesterday.
Some people think it look dorky. Some people are like, "Oh, this is high
dork
fashion."
sandwich over here.
Some people are like, "Oh, they're cool. That's high." But and I only bring this up to say it's like, what's more important, how I look, or the reason that I fucking have the fanny pack?
For sure.
Right.
And I apply that to a lot of things in life. It's like, I'm not saying I don't give a fuck about nothing, but like, I'm not gonna let some non-important thing interfere with why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like even when I was I'd be driving a van, picking up chicks or whatever, taking them out on dates, and people like, man, you drive that thing for girls? It's like, or while picking up, it's like it exists for a reason.
For sure.
Like I'm not doing shit for no reason. Like,
Right.
oh, why don't you get some Jordans? For what?
Right. Right.
What $200 task are my feet operating? You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't even make sense.
And then when you move to a place like this, kind of like going back on what you just said, there's more of a contrast of that and that acknowledgement of that. You're like, oh, like a lot of these people are like working for the weekend or doing things or living the rat
Keep
race.
up the Joneses.
Yeah. Like, oh, I have to buy this, or I have to have this car, I have to have this, or like seeing people with these
still driving a 2023
with these with these monetary comparisons that mean nothing. There's no benefit to them at all.
Yeah.
And that's the whole rat race, not even just in California or Hollywood, but like across the country, everybody does it. They go like the same for those exact same reasons. Like, is this practical? Does it have a purpose? Do I actually use this, or is this just some bullshit that I bought because that's the thing to buy and like that's what you have to have? And that's like a big hurdle to overcome at any point of life. So for you to come to that kind of like awareness at the young age that you are, that's an advantage, like a big advantage.
You know what? Now that we're all we're talking out loud and whatnot, I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, so I'm talking all this shit, we're talking all this shit, but this is coming from a place of something that we know, or at the very least believe we know or understand. But truthfully, if you don't know this, then you won't even have these issues or these, you know, these conundrums of life, because ignorance is bliss. And I think like I said, I'm not just special or whatever. For some reason, my attention was called elsewhere, and then I became aware of something else. So now it's like, it seems crazy to me to do certain things that the masses do.
Right.
So it's like, I can't even, not that I would or did before, but I can't even fault the masses for doing mass type shit because they don't know.
Right.
No, it's
And
like
there's a point we all didn't know either.
Yeah, I don't even know that other people are like struggling, like, because if they're just living in ignorant bliss, which that's cool. I mean, hell, if I could erase certain knowledge out of my mind, I'd probably do it too.
But the thing is, though, everyone's still struggling. You're still trying to struggle. So, like, I feel like I've had that same, like, you know, epiphany before too. And so always feel like it's like, I was fine eating ground beef until I had steak for the first time. I'm like, oh, I want that. I want that all the time.
Yeah.
But the struggle to get steak is no more difficult than getting ground beef, right? You still got to fucking do something to get that shit that you want, but you know there's a top tier version of that whole thing. So your existent may be a 9-to-5, you know, cubicle job versus a, you know, van life hustle. You're still putting in the work, but you're reaping a benefit that is specifically towards you, that you get a better, like, you know, exchange on your life than most people that don't know.
Because
but they don't
I
know.
know.
Exactly.
Right.
But they're none the wiser. So that's why you have your cousin that's kind of busting, well, you're broke. It's like, yeah, but like my broke ass is providing entertainment for all you rich fucking people, right?
Yeah.
And at some point in time, it's going to flip. But like either
and
way.
even if it don't, I enjoy what
exactly.
I do.
So the thing
do
is,
you enjoy what you do?
Right.
And
sure.
if her answer is yes, then great.
It definitely makes you look at society and people in general differently, knowing that there's this like blanket of ignorance over most people that I haven't even thought of those questions and said like, what makes me happy and like, why am I buying this and all that kind of shit. So for me, I've had that like kind of come to, you know, I don't believe in religion, but like come to Jesus moment where like, I'm like, oh shit, like does anybody else think about this? And then, you know, you find people that are kind of like-minded throughout your life that like, oh, okay, but it's very few people. There's less people like-minded like us than there are not like us. There's the majority of people live in the rat race and have these ideals of materialistic things. And so it makes the world seem almost like you're like an alien on a weird planet or some shit where you're like, how does not anybody else see this shit? This is crazy. And then, you know, you're like, oh fuck. Like now I'm the weird one because I see shit for what it is. And then you're like, okay, now who else sees this shit? You know,
but let me interject there, right? Because I try, even if I'm not successful, I try my best to not be I don't have a good word for it, but pretentious or like a know-it-all or whatever, right? You just said seeing shit for what it really is. That's one way to put it, but I like to try to think of it as simply see it from another perspective. And it's a perspective that a lot of people are unaware of, that they may benefit from seeing it from that perspective, but for whatever reason they don't. So it's like, hey, what are you going to do? So like, there's somebody, well, again, let's go to a fucking monk. There's a monk that sees it from a completely different perspective. And it's like, yo, all this shit means nothing. And the only thing that matters is your connection to the higher power. And then there's somebody else that, I don't know, a fucking anarchist that's like, none of this shit. Which one is right? Hey, I'm not saying what's right. I know that the perspective that we're talking about is a less common one. But I will say this much, man. And not now I'm defending what we do, but it's like, man, I have yet to go into some place where people have a 9-to-5 and shit on them for not having time. Yet I've had so many 9-to-5ers shit on me for not having money or not knowing where my check is coming from. Like my cousin again. She's like, you don't, how come, and you ain't, it's like, wait a minute, I ain't gonna call it a B word. It's like, wait a minute, motherfucker. Like, I ain't come to your job and be like, you can't even go to the movies right now. Look who got a clock in. Why the fuck you teasing me because I ain't got no money?
Right.
What type of shit is that?
Time is money. Yeah. It's the same shit.
Majority rules, I guess. If most people got no time and all the money, they'll probably make fun of people with all the time and no money.
Well, it's nice to encounter other people and meet people that have the same kind of experiences and awareness of that kind of stuff.
And like I said, with my upbringing, dog, like I've already lived a lot of that shit, man. That's not to say I've lived everything, but like, again, like what is the money? What is it even for? You got a mansion, you got a house, right? You know, a house. You got a mansion, you got a nice ride, your fridge is full, your bills are paid, and you got friends, right? And you got kids, and your kids are taken care of, all this stuff. Now what?
Right.
What are you doing? Like especially in this business, I've made a lot of money. I got none now. I got like $5 that a lady friend of mine told me to go get LaCroix with. Other than that, I ain't got no fucking money. But you get it in what? Right. Yeah. Like that what is what I do a lot of without the money. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just money, man. You know, I could have bought a whole bunch of things, but I'm having fun, you know, finding out Macy Gray does fucking comedy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out with Dave Chappelle. Like Dave Chappelle, I was doing a show at the Comedy Store. I was producing it. And whoever was the talent coordinator at the time called me and was like, hey, man. I'm like, oh, shit. What is it? It was like, Dave, he's doing a show. I'm like, all right, cool. When? Now. I was like, but I got people coming there for my show. Yeah. It's like, it's Dave, man. I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay. So I see Dave after that. I'm like, yo, you fucking bumped my show. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, well, you got bumped by the best. And he fucking gave me a beer. Like, I wanted some money to pay my phone bill, but he gave me a beer. Now, I didn't get to do the show. I didn't get no money to pay my phone bill, but I have that story. People would kill for that story.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's experience.
But whatever. I'm done talking about that shit. I'm off my high horse.
Well, speaking of experiences, when can people experience you live? When's your next show? Where can they find you on Instagram or TikTok or whatever social media? Are you guys on
TikTok?
No. We are. This podcast is, but just for this podcast. I never go on. I don't know how fucking.
You don't have like a TikTok thing?
I have my own too, but I just repost the same stuff like that we have on for the show.
I'm like you with Austin. I'm so late on TikTok. Like everyone's made their millions and it's about to be banned by the US. I'm like, all right, TikTok. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
That is funny that like I'm so late that like TikTok was a nothing, became a thing, and people got famous. And it could easily be out of here,
right?
All before I ever like.
That's what I think about it too. I'm like, shit. I'm like, this might not even be around.
I got Snapchat real quick. Did nothing with it. Yeah. It was like of all the fat apps, you know what I mean? Like I fucking picked. I didn't never fuck with Vine, and then I was like, Snapchat, then TikTok, and
some stuff. I just matter of fact, it's funny. So I ain't necessarily come up with Matt Rife. We kind of came up around the same time. He's quite a bit younger than me.
Never heard of this guy. What's his
Matt Rife?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the other thing. Like
I honestly don't know who the fuck that guy is. I just see like people talk about him. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
I don't truly know how big he is. I only know that he's a big dude based off what people have told me. I mean, I've seen like he's doing big stuff, but like, I mean, I got cousins whose middle name I don't know. So you have to forgive me for not knowing everything about everybody. But he's from Ohio, so I remember him like being at the Funny Bone in Perrysburg, Ohio. He was opening up for like Tommy Davidson, and we'd hang around and stuff like that. But apparently he blew up on TikTok, and it's like, yo, if I can have what I understand Matt Rife's career to be from TikTok, I need to fucking get on there.
Yeah,
is what I've told myself. Yet I've never done it. Anyway, you can follow me, find me on. I am on TikTok. I just don't put up a lot of stuff on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Now X, even my Gmail is all at comedian Ron T.
Okay.
At comedian Ron T. YouTube.
At comedian Ron T.
So @ even my Cash App is hashtag comedian Ron T. My Venmo.
Send Ron some fucking cash.
Comedian Ron T. Yeah, I need some money to go
to. More LaCroix money. Yeah.
Yeah. I need some money to go to Austin.
LaCroix don't buy themselves, all right?
some train money over here for this kid.
Yeah, man. Follow me at comedian Ron T. I got a special out. Okay. New special. It's on Veeps. That's VEEPS. Hour-long special. It's called Avalanche because shit is going down. No. Really proud about that. It's pretty good. Did it in one shot.
Okay.
So they was like, look, keep going. Don't fuck nothing up. If you think that there's something that is fucked up, we can do our best to fix it in post. And I was like, I don't want it. Whatever. I did it. Came out way better than I thought. Not that I thought it was going to be bad. But, you just in your head, you got one show, you're thinking about this. And I watched it. I was like, hey, I look like a fucking comedian up there. I was wearing leather, a black special staple, so.
Black special staple?
Yeah. Which is why shame on Amy Schumer for naming her special that. I mean, whatever. She's great. She's a great person. I'm sure. I don't know. I never met her. But she named her special, one of her specials, Black Leather Special. Which is just like, motherfucker, what? That's like if I name my special, I don't know, Big Bar Mitzvah. It's like, what? That's you can't.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever. But I had my leather on, so you can check me out on Veeps, Ron Taylor Avalanche on Veeps. What else?
Got any shows coming up in the next couple weeks? Or look for him in Austin.
I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll be at the Comedy Store Saturday, 10 o'clock, I think, in the main room. No, in the OR. I'll be going to Austin, where hopefully I'll be doing the Vulcan, I think it's a place.
Yeah, I think that's
the Vulcan. I'll be at the Mothership trying to, suck appropriate dick so I can get on there. You know what I'm saying? I like doing white podcasts because I can do jokes like that too. But if you clip that out and I repost it, I'm gonna lose like 100 followers. Like, what the fuck you talking about? You going to Austin to suck dick?
You need a dick suck.
I'm just gonna loop that. I'm gonna go to Austin, suck white dicks, and on a loop, just so fucking.
Yeah, man. What else before we get out of here? I'm drinking bubbly. I took a little break from alcohol. That's been boring, but such as like my liver is so excited. Like, man, you're doing great. I'm like, you just wait.
Wait till Austin.
Yeah. Wait till we get to Texas, buddy. I
Beer
might take you
beer
through
and
it.
barbecue. Yeah.
I sucked a young lady's titties like 2 days ago.
Nice.
That was great. I've been out of the.
Watch out, young lady. He might come back.
Yeah, I've been out of the pussy game for a while. Not like I was in the dick game, but just like I was by myself. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, man. Other than that, life's fucking. Well, you know what? Manifesting. Life's great.
I'm excited. I'm excited for when you come back on this podcast. I want to hear all about it, and I want to hear all your stories of your.
I want to hear you come back on this podcast. And you're like, so I got the mansion, guys. I'm a millionaire, and it's everything I ever expected. It's amazing.
Oh, now that would be funny if I come back and just shit on everything I talked about. Like, look, I was fucking wrong. Yo, stability is the shit.
Yeah.
Stability.
I got a fucking yard full of vans. I got a Monday van, a Tuesday van.
Yeah. Oh, no, I do want to do that because the city stole my van. I'm looking to get another van and like really outfit it. When I converted my van into not a sleeper, but a what do you call it? An RV, I guess. I did I don't know what would you call a no hole conversion, no drilling. So everything was like fucking zip ties or bungee cords and folding things and stuff like that. And then it was like straight up building a van out. Yeah. You said you're handy.
Yeah, I built his truck out. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
We'll talk after the show. I'll show you some shit.
Okay. Well, look, you guys heard it here. If they don't help me with my new fucking rig, it's gonna be some smoke in the city.
I got you for sure.
Tony Klein, where can people find you, buddy?
At Tony Klein Comedian on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm not on TikTok. I need to get on there.
You're on the Eric and Tony Show TikTok.
I'm on my own TikTok and be super
famous. You can
famous.
promote the TikTok too. I don't have to be the one
I'm gonna buy
fucking
7
promoting
vans.
this. Huh?
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be super famous and buy 7 vans my damn self.
Yeah, man.
Eric, where can they find you?
You can find me and this fucking idiot over here, Tony, on the Eric and Tony Show on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Instagram under the Eric and Tony Show. You can also go to the ericandtonyshow.com and help support this channel and buy a beer mug, buy a t-shirt, watch the show with us. We post it every Monday, the full episode on YouTube, the full audio on Spotify, and then every day we send our guests and on our own websites and internet feeds 60-second clips every single day of little cliff notes of this whole podcast, so you can kind of like catch up on what we've been doing if you don't want to watch the whole hour and whatever
if you don't have time but you have the money,
if you don't have time you have the money, and that's where you can find us. So just make sure to like and subscribe, check out the show, and thank you so much again for coming on the podcast, man. That was a fucking
gentleman
awesome time. I can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for you to come back,
man. Thank you. Come back with some money.
All right. Thank you so much. Peace. We're out.